You're tuned in to RX Radio.
One other thing I admired about the Dubai fitness scene, strict no dick policy.
No dick.
No dick policy. Change rooms.
Like, is that written on paper?
Nah,
Like on your
maybe
waiver?
in the Quran, but in the change rooms, there was change rooms inside the change rooms. Like there's these little, like, you have like your lockers, and then in the corner of where the lockers are, there's like a door, and behind the door is nothing. And if you have to like strip down, you go in there.
So what did the old guys wear when they walked around the locker room?
I didn't. They were exiled.
So no dicks out.
No.
That's huge.
Game changer.
You don't have anybody with one leg fucking
You
propped up,
get
air
goated.
blowing their nutsack.
None of it. None of it. I thought that was, I missed that already.
Yeah.
And it's not that I've gone into any change rooms since being back in North America.
Except for the one here.
Yeah, no, I've avoided that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm smarter than that. That was a dodgy looking place.
It's a little rapey.
Yeah, rapey's a good word. Bad, but good word. Yeah. But yeah, Dubai, strict, no dick policy.
Huh. Unwritten rules. No dicks.
They got something right over there, I think.
They're doing it right.
Yeah, I think that's a trend that I think could catch on. You know what could fuck off? The phrase, like when people post something and they say, we should normalize X, Y, and Z. Like the calling to attention of something they're doing. I always, honestly, and this is going to sound fucked up, but I'm a big civil rights guy. I'm a big history guy. Imagine Rosa Parks, stay with me, like saying, we should normalize people sitting on the bus. How that wouldn't have landed back then. Like she normalized it by just being like, nah, I'm good. Right?
Yeah.
No
And
social media, no call to action. She just did it.
But it's more so like it's just look at me. Look at me doing the thing that I probably should have been doing in the first place.
Yeah.
It's kind of egotistical, too, because it's like,
Well, it's social media.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's, they're putting out there like, oh, if I can do it, anyone can do it, which is like not the case for a lot of people.
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty insensitive approach. But honestly, it's like, I don't want to go down the feminist route, but it's usually like, okay, let's call a spade here. 10 times out of fucking 10, when you see someone say, let's normalize X, Y, or Z, it's a female on social media. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad chicks on social media that just do shit. But it's whenever I see that behavior, and I'm sure guys are guilty of it, I probably just have them unfollowed. But it's like that, the proclamation, like the Sermon on the Mount, the burning bush and the whole 9 yards of being like, we should normalize this. It's like, hey, look at me doing something edgy. Like, I hate the counterpoint fitness culture. Like, everyone thinks that this is good, and then someone goes, I have an idea for content. What if I said that was bad? Brilliant. Hot take of the day.
Back and forth.
Yeah. The hot take is what really driving me nuts right now.
There's just so much dumb shit. I swear to God, I scrolled past something today telling me to tape my mouth shut while I sleep.
Where have you been? That's a new one. That's
That
a
was
new one.
new to the page.
Wow, that's crossed your desk for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
So
been
maybe
around.
I'm blessed.
You're running
Bless
into
up.
my
Hashtag
territory
bless
here.
Yeah, that's been around.
Oh, yeah.
That's been around.
That's the thing for sure.
But yeah, I just I would, and even from like a content perspective, if you want to do that, just do something with you doing it rather than just telling other people to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I really think there's a benefit or a value in just like doing the damn thing. Shout out Bax. But the idea, like the proclamation, the narcissism that comes with, we should we should really normalize COVID, apparently. But like that proclamation of, oh, we need to normalize X, Y, or Z. And then it's like something like edgy and provocative or something like that.
Yeah.
Like in the time it took you to do the post, you could have just done the thing instead.
Yeah, or just post it and not say anything.
Or that
like,
too.
Okay, here's a real common one. I think we've all probably seen this. The cellulite one.
Oh.
And it's always like the chick who's just really attractive. And it's just like, I'm just looking at a picture of your ass. That's low key what it is, right?
Yeah,
but it's like
I
she
wanted
doesn't
to
want
post to my ass.
Right, but she doesn't want. She wants to also be like the Rosa Parks of ass shots at the same time. Like, she doesn't want to be taken, and like it's just, I don't want this to come off as like anti-female or something. But that's like such a classic example. Like, she doesn't want to come off. And, okay, here's maybe a male example. Like the guys that post about, hey, let's normalize talking about mental health. and it's like them crying on Instagram. Have you seen this? Are you you're an insane person.
The amount of times I've seen somebody record themselves crying
Yo.
to send it to people, I'm like, what the fuck are you
Wait,
doing?
that's real? You've seen that
haven't
multiple
that?
times?
Dog, I saw one the other day, without getting too specific, of someone sitting down journaling.
Yeah, I'm done with
Like
social media.
putting up a camera to watch them journal, and then while they were journaling, they started crying. And like, this is the thing: is the number of opportunities you have to abort this terrible idea, right? Like, they even put a filter on it, which is what really killed me. Was like, you were swiping through, and at no point when you went like, Rome, New York, sepia, whatever the fucking filters are, that you were just like. It didn't cross your mind just to hit delete, discard, and just be done with it?
It's just like, it's like the live video of writing a song lyric in your Facebook status. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking for attention, and then you're putting like a really, not cool as in like cool temperature filter on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Making it all dark and edgy for your TikTok.
But don't get me wrong, like, obviously social media is about attention, and like the currency is of that's what it is. That's what we trade in, is attention. Like, how much attention can you keep? How much attention can you get? But it's like, how much, like, that to me is not like, that is almost like a responsibility. Like, you should be, if you want to be able to like exploit this medium, you should be thinking about providing value.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you have an online footprint, I think providing value with whatever attention you can garner is probably your smart play. Like, I'd imagine if you're crying on Instagram now and that's your idea of making content, it's like, where are you going to be in 6 months? I'll tell you where you're going to be. You're going to be on OnlyFans, right? Because the only thing left to do is actually just jerk off.
Yeah. Which they probably did after the cry.
Probably.
And or
Just I feel a lot better. But it's like, well, how could I monetize that? It's like OnlyFans. I just and there's a flip side to it as well. Like, I don't want this conversation to go too far afield, because there's an anti culture that is given too much of a voice, and it negates their responsibility to provide value. Like, I think of the number of people that picked COVID as their hill to die on, like right wing turned far right guys that just start talking. Everyone's a sheep all of a sudden, and you're like, dog, like, weren't you like a bodybuilder like 3 weeks ago? But it's like, there's only a few people over here doing like the normalized thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of just normal people just doing whatever. But those people are still garnering attention. And it's like, we vote with our attention. So let's like kind of push that out of office by maybe not giving them any positive reinforcement. Because I guarantee you, like, the guy who does the cry thing, let's normalize, you know what he's doing? Like, let's just put it all out in the open. He's trying to get the attention of chicks.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 1,000%.
Yeah. Oh, he's so sensitive.
Why has
Look at
any
him
guy
go, like-
ever done anything?
Yeah, no, seriously. Think we want to climb mountains? We were both asleep on the floor 20 minutes ago. You know why? No women. There's no women in this house. So we're like, oh, finally. Women think we're out at like strip clubs or doing all this. Like, oh, man, I really wanted to sleep on the floor at 5 p.m. and not be judged for it.
Yo, best day ever.
But like, natural selection is gone. It's all sexual selection.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like every time, and I'm not going to lay this at the feet of women, but like every time that gets reinforced with like you can heart right from the story now. Every time that happens, it's like, man, you're pushing back, the society another 10 years. If you tell that guy that's a good idea, because you can, like, we talk about going to see shrinks and shit. You know, one of my friends, and I'm not going to name names, you can probably figure it out if you listen to the podcast, hits me up today. It was like, hey, my shrink was killed. It's like, can you, like, what's your shrink? How did you find your shrink? And that's like, he didn't say like, hey, I really want to normalize public health. He's like, yo, my shrink got carjacked and is dead now. I need another shrink. And that was like, I wonder, scratch your head. But like, there was no preface. He didn't post about it on social media. No. But like, yo, that would have been sick content though. By today's standards, that's
It would have blown up.
Yeah, for sure. And like his shrink. But that is just like, if you want to normalize something, just do it. Do it.
Stop talking about it in action.
Yeah, but it is a fine line, because you don't want to cross over to be like an anti-counterculture commentator, if you know what I mean. Like, the hot take crew is just like a band of lazy idiots that their only thing is waiting for people like this to do something. And I know we're kind of making some commentary, but I want to kind of bring us to center ground here and just be like, look, everyone just push those things aside. If you feel the need to create a counterpoint to someone, don't just like do your own thing. Just part those two crazy it's like fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. Those walls are just closing in.
Yeah.
And people just see it as such an easy way to create just lazy, invaluable content. And they just have this like bickering, and it's like there's just a slipstream of normality that you can just fucking. It's just clear air, but people just
They want friction.
they want friction.
They want friction.
Yeah, not a big friction guy.
But it's also because like they know that there's something like they disagree with fundamentally with themselves, so they just like they want to normalize it so that they feel accepted, right?
Oh,
like,
so it's a projection. you said.
yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're on to it.
Like at the end of the day, I think so many people just like want to be liked. Like that's kind of what social media is, right? Like they're posting stuff, they're curating their own content so that people like them. So it's like they just like normalize this so that I can be accepted.
They need to be likable
Yeah,
first.
Yeah.
Like, just be
Yeah.
likable first.
Yeah, it's weird to see people just roll with the tides of what works.
Right.
'Cause, like,
They
man-
shift with the algorithms.
Yeah, that's a
weird one
That's
to
a
me.
well. The thing is, that's a worthy adversary too, right? Like these things. I'm assuming are quite deliberate, right? Like these algorithms are deliberate, and they play on the lesser angels of our nature. So they play on what is the low hanging fruit of behaviors that we can propagate just time on the app. I'm assuming that's their bottom line, is what can we do to reinforce or punish to teach people how to stay on the app longer. And then people will slowly, either the carrot or the stick, figure out what they want. Like I post pictures all the time. You know who doesn't want me to post pictures? Instagram. You know why I know that? Because I get like 1/10 of the likes I got before. Do I give a shit? Absolutely not. No. Right? Like the number of, there's a new style out, and you guys have probably noticed it. Yellow text is big. You writing this down?
Yeah.
Yellow text. Every single person that has the yellow text on the reel, the yellow captions,
Yeah.
and then every little reel, every caption of text has to have an emoji under it. Just pay attention. I swear to God, anyone listening to this, go on your phone right now and just do a quick see, and you'll see like 10 reels, and they all have that style with yellow text, black outline, and at the little bottom of every little text clip in the captions or in the in like the closed captions in the video, there's an emoji in there. That's the new style.
Oh, no, I'm going to do it for the clips for this one.
I hope so. That'll be the whole irony of it, right? But it's just, the weird part is there used to be a much higher barrier of entry of that level of production value.
Yeah.
Right? Like you used to have someone like you, right? Like we have a you because we can't do it, but people who kind of do what we do can also do it.
Yeah.
So they just do it. So like you're scrolling and everything looks like, the Flagrant 2 podcast feed, right? Everything is just it's so generic. I've just never understood why people don't realize that it's like if you look like everyone else, you're probably just going to blend in and not start to garner the attention that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that intuitively wouldn't that land?
You would think so. Yeah. The production value doesn't match the value of the content that's actually being created, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but the hard part is, does the medium care?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah, if it's engaging and people say something provocative, I've seen so many reels where I scroll and people will make one statement and then it ends. I'm like, wait, you're not going to elaborate on that?
Do you want to know
there's not more to
the
it?
real kick in the dick is the people that are putting up Twitter posts as reels.
Oh my god.
Have you seen
As
this behavior?
reels,
Yeah, they
because
just
I
put
want the views.
right. That's
Fucking losers.
I really think if Instagram had a way to directly monetize in app, like say all of our point of sales were actually in Instagram, and we could start to see correlations to real metrics, like our KPI would be conversions and actual dollars in the bank, you'd see such a different reinforcement pattern because the reinforcement would be outside of the hands of Instagram. Right? So people play this game where it's like the real thing that people are chasing. I hope, if you're investing time into this, your most valuable resource, or your attention, your most valuable resource, is Instagram is playing as the in-between to a storefront, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like you're trying to, it's just a numbers thing. Or if I give 1 million followers and I have a call to action link and they're just trying to go from Instagram to a point of sale. If those statistics were merged together, right? And people started to see that, the post that only got 200 likes of the 3 photos got 4 purchases directly from that post. and the one that went viral got none, people would stop giving a shit about the virally, yellow text with the fucking shit that gets shared around, because it's likely not landing on the doorstep of anyone that's like, oh, okay, wallet, here's my money.
Right.
And I think because kids, man, fuck. Like, I try and keep an eye on people who take like the courses and level 1 and all that. And I see them kind of, and fuck, I'm so glad we got into it when we did.
Dude,
because
yeah.
it wasn't what it is today. Like, tell your first 11 days on Instagram. No, seriously, this is biblical shit.
Yeah,
Man.
it was like 1,000 followers a day or something.
What?
Like, he literally,
Yeah.
I think I started before you.
Yeah.
The business one. I started while I was still in school. You graduated, and the next week started it, and then literally 10 days later had like 11 or 12,000 followers. And like no bots, no nothing, just like big name CrossFit people started sharing his stuff, and was just like double digits like that.
Were you just posting like training videos?
I was posting like shit that I look back and it's like a little cringy, but it was very Kelly Starrett, like mobility WOD type stuff. Like,
Okay.
if your knee hurts, do this. If your ankle hurts, do this. And it was like a new-ish form of content at the time.
Yeah.
And it just spread around like real quick. And it's
Oh,
like,
shit.
oh, I guess I'll keep doing this. But if you look at my business Instagram right now, you'll see I have the same amount of followers I did at that time.
Yeah.
Because I realized this isn't turning into money in the bank. I'm going to stop pursuing this, right? I wasn't getting those conversions.
Right.
And even as you're saying that, I think you're giving people a little bit too much credit.
What do you mean?
I don't think people have the systems in place to
Yeah.
actually convert someone to selling something, right? They might have like one-off programs or one-on-one coaching, things like that. But I think a lot of people that are putting shit content out there, I think it's just for the likes, dude. I think it's for their ego, which is like even more concerning to me.
I feel like it's a resource that'll never devalue, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like buying fucking Shiba coin or something that's just going to go to zero. Like, people's attention will always be valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like, marketing is the art of the 21st century. So if not now, those eyeballs that you garner, if by legitimate means. Because what I don't get is, like, I've been followed and unfollowed by like the same 4 accounts for the last like 6 months. Which is like, there's a bot there that's doing some bidding, and it's like, that to me is if you're garnering an inconvertible following, makes no sense. Then yeah, that's ego.
Right.
I think kids feel a different squeeze. And to your earlier point about like putting out stuff that was cringe, I think it's cringe by today's standards. But I think at the time, like, Instagram had just gone to 60-second videos.
Yeah.
Like, that was like kind of right on the edge, right?
Yeah, I had someone where I was trying to cram into 15 back then too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, split, slice, and then cram it all together.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's, to judge that content by today's standards, I think is not really fair to you, because you're the stuff you put out now is whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But you're in a position where it's
Absolutely
like,
true.
that'll land on someone's doorstep, and they'll see past, they'll see it in a sea of scrolling yellow text and little emojis and be like, oh, this guy's different. That's a shitty picture of his 10th coffee of the day while he walks his dog. And you'll stand out. Like, you'll literally just be like this fucking red zebra on the side of the road next to a bunch of other zebras blending into the same nonsense. And it's just, if there was a way, and you can look at this, like, you could look at posting volume, and if you have products you're selling, just every week, just take a look at the insights on Instagram and just cross them over to purchases in the bank, or maybe even a broader time horizon, like maybe 2 weeks or a month. And just see, okay, I'm going to try posting at a certain time. And I know it's kind of silly, but in the early stages, if you just do that and you can control some variables, you can start to see like, oh, okay, this is working or not, rather than working or not being hinging directly on the number of likes or followers or whatever, or shares that something gets. Because authenticity is so hard to find. Like, I'd much rather look at you with Bo and a coffee. But I think it's really
brother.
but it's coming full circle to what Instagram really was at the beginning, right? It was sort of just this Veritas over the shoulder click. Here's my big ass salad for lunch. Shout out Bagheera. # big ass salad. # Eric Bagheera. That's what it was, and I think people are looking for that again because it is so homogenous. You just scroll and it's like, I can't tell the difference anymore of who. I have to look specifically at the name in the top left of the post to be like, oh, who is this again? Oh, okay. It's because it all looks the fucking same.
Yeah.
There's also like a correlation causation component to that whole thing too, right? Like you just end up chasing this like arbitrary, numbers game where you're like, yeah, you look at your stats or whatever and it's saying, oh, your post did really fucking well on Wednesday at 2 p.m. But it's like, if you just try and do that again, like it's just not going to work because it's like there's more that goes into it. It's the content. It's the type of content. It's the type of people that are like maybe on at that time. Like so much goes into it, but we just end up chasing this like arbitrary form of data validation.
But I think being able to zoom in and zoom out, because I think the real benefit is not the post that crushed on Wednesday. It's to make sure that you have a post every Wednesday. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. In my mind, it's just being real is the thing, or being the person that you want to portray on the internet in your content creation. Right.
That's the most difficult part.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're portraying this person that's just putting up inflammatory posts on Instagram just to get likes and comments and attention, get people talking, then what's the value that you're going to offer if I give you my money? Like, that's not a person that I want to give my money to just so you can keep doing dumb inflammatory shit, right? Like, if you want to provide value, then show that you provide value, but do it in a genuine way that makes people want to give you their money, because that's what it really boils down to.
Yeah, I think the thought process might be that it's like some sort of switcheroo. That behind the paywall, it's this Garden of Eden where I am like the second coming of all answers to training and nutrition. Where it's like it's probably you just being a dick even more. Like it's you saying wilder shit behind whatever paywall you have, because it's not like people are going to change, right? That is really subconsciously or consciously like a pretty good gateway, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because it's one or two things. People are either inflammatory on purpose and there's someone else behind the scenes, but they're insidious enough to just be willing to play the game and portray themselves a certain way, which tells me more about them than if they were just, if they were just being themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Because that is still a character trait of whoever you think you are when you're not online. Right. So it's like I'd almost much rather the guy who's like a dick in real life and a dick on the internet, because at least it's authentic through and through.
Exactly.
But like the caricatures that people portray of themselves on the internet, and I've seen it firsthand. Like I've been in rooms where people like to push the envelope, and all of a sudden like you can feel buttholes tucker up when I walk into the room. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Not as fast and loose with the comments now in real life, and it's like whether good or bad, right? Like some people are nice on the internet and then dicks in real life, and vice versa. It's like either way, if there's a dissonance there, I'm out. But from a consumer standpoint, from a friend standpoint, like what you see should be what you, and it just makes it sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. You can't take the attention out of it because the attention is the currency. But if you're going to give your attention to it, like at least for your own sake, provide value that's like in line with what you want to portray. Because at the end of the day, like if you look at big companies, transparency is everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like Apple security, things like Apple versus Samsung versus Google, like people want to know, right? If people want to know what Walmart's up to or what Amazon's up to, you think they're not going to want to know some guy who's going to comment back or like back? So that transparency is everything. I think the underlying issue is like people fundamentally don't know who they are off the internet.
That's true, man.
Yeah, I think people spend more time trying to cater their content to like what's, like you said, it's a currency factor, right? Yeah. Like what's going to make them money rather than just being themselves. Like from like a cringe standpoint, I remember probably 5 years ago, I was the guy setting up a white blanket sheet in the back, and I was doing like nutrition talks. But like, did I like doing them? No. But I was trying to do it because like at the end of the day, I was trying to convert clients, and I was trying to maybe get sponsored by some fucking company.
That's still way more genuine than what people are doing on the internet now.
I guess so. Yeah, but still, like at the bottom, like I look back on it now, and it's like you said, it's like it's cringe.
Right. Yeah. Because you've evolved your thought process since then. And that's why it's cringe.
Yeah, I don't think it was for the time.
Right.
You don't think so?
Right, because I think there's an authenticity in the white sheet. You know, when kids are breaking the bank, going into fucking production studios and stuff. Like I think that I like that. So I mean, I did whiteboard shit, but people still look back because that's still real.
Yeah.
Right. That's you taking the fucking, because you probably took it off your bed and had to make your bed after or
did.
something. Right. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So, but that's the real stuff. Like, and I think what people miss in like the meta aspect of the storytelling is like the evolution of even the quality of your content is part of the story as much as
Absolutely,
what
yeah.
you're saying, right? Like,
Right.
Because a good idea will hit, whether it's in front of a bed sheet, on a whiteboard, in some Airbnb kitchen. It doesn't matter where you're at. A good idea will carry over. It'll convert, right? Versus something that's just like, you know, this is what's hot on Instagram, so this is what I'm going to say.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think to your earlier point, I don't even know if sometimes the curation of attention is for anyone else other than maybe creating like the avatar version of the person that they want to be seen as rather than the person they are. Like so many people, like Penny and I were talking about this the other day, like the weird thing with the Twitter post on the Instagram thing with like these little hot takes on fitness. It's like the hottest take in fitness will always be being really jacked. Like that is the hottest of hot takes in fitness forever and always. It'll always be that.
so many people that don't train or train very poorly are giving advice on how to train to other people.
And that's the thing that was siloed to the people that were in shape, right? That was the only person you ever took advice from when you were a kid. I didn't care what you knew. I care how big your arms were. And I think what people are doing is they want to be looked at with that level of admiration or respect, but they don't want to just do the work it takes they want to circumvent, they want to create a new game. So I really think there is like a projection of like, oh, I really want what comes with that, but I don't want to go into. So I'm going to defame that and try and put myself on the throne. But I think you don't. If that's the way you go about it, you really don't know what you want. Right? That to me is like you're reaching, and I see people do this on a weekly basis. Like they try and create the avatar themselves. Like so social media for me has gotten increasingly easier over the years. The more I've just kind of sat back and be like, okay, what do I like, what I don't like, right? And trying to find that slipstream between like, okay, yes, there's stuff that bugs me. I'm not going to make that who I am, right? Because people's identity is either bashing someone else's potential identity, probably like a fake thing that they're projecting onto the universe. But there's this slipstream where you can kind of, try and like what we're doing now, have center of the road conversations where it's like, okay, I get the point of all this, but I'm still just going to have an accurate sort of window or two-way mirror into my life because I know that's sustainable. But if you don't have that center lane to go in, you're just going to fucking pong back and forth between like, the social commentary and the hot takes and just get all tripped up. And at the end of the day, it's like one thing that I've said probably more than anything else to people when they talk about what they do for work or social media is like, make your money, dog. Make your money.
Yeah.
Make your
Gotta
money.
eat.
That's all I don't want to say that's all I care about, but because capitalism is fucking fantastic. It's so good because the free market will sort you out. Yeah. Like if you're full of shit for long enough, like you won't last. Like you won't grow. You'll phase out. Like that fissure between who you might be in real life and on the internet, that'll crack. The water will get in that, it'll freeze, and you'll fuck off. I've seen, even in like the short tenure on social media that I've had, I don't know, it's probably been 10 years now, which isn't short. The number of people just like come and go, not for lack of skills. I know plenty of people that were really good like at what they did, but just for like a lack of self-awareness. It's like they just kept chasing that proverbial rabbit until all of a sudden, like they had no idea where they were, and then something made it very abrupt to them that I have no idea where I am, both like physically and metaphorically. And they just fucked it right off, and I don't know, became an electrician or a plumber or something.
Yeah,
because that doesn't require that social media.
But it's also like like the plumber thing or like the like fucking off and being an electrician. Like it's just kind of like, did they just get sick of it and they just couldn't tolerate it? Like you said, like they just followed that rabbit until they were lost.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's the case. Like if you don't, because I think fundamentally if you don't have that self-awareness, like if you don't know how like this has an ability to affect you, like the pitch, the frequency, and the tone of the inundation of what comes through your you should be able to follow just about anything and be okay with it. Like, you should be able to follow people that you hate and be fine with it.
I don't know if I agree with that.
No, you should be able to. Like, you should be able to follow someone that you don't like and understand that this is just pixels on your phone, and these people exist whether or not
But that doesn't mean you have to submit
no,
yourself to that.
No, I'm
subject
saying,
yourself to that.
No, for sure. And, like, I don't have too much. I have some friends that put some stuff up that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it's not like I'm going to unfollow them, but it doesn't ruin my day.
You just
Right?
mute them.
Yeah. If it ruins your day, that's an issue.
Well, yeah, but I think that's what they'll see the way people act I'm not even going to use the word act, react. Right? I don't think anyone is consciously acting. I think their attention is just getting pulled and they're reacting. But it tells me that this is visceral. Like what you saw on this, black plastic glass rectangle forced you into some sort of counter blow.
Yeah,
It's like,
if
man,
that ruins your day, you got bigger issues going on.
and I think that's most of the, I don't want to say most of the discourse, but that's most of the noise. That's most of the discourse that attributes to this, like this cloud of noise that you see. It's just people just getting too triggered.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm going to put something out there and I'm going to see where it lands with you guys. But I would say you don't need a social media following to have a successful business, even if you work online. Because I think the best thing for your business, as opposed to acquiring followers, is doing good work in your business. Because I've always seen that referrals are my best way to acquire clients over followers.
I think I think in like a service-based business like us, like, yeah, for sure. Like you're going to have the most influence, at least in your close circle, for sure. But like if you're, depending on what business you have, it's still like number of eyes versus people who are actually coming in offline or online. And like, you're just going to have a better, like to your point, you're going to have a better influence on the people around you. But I don't know. I think depending on your business, like you just need eyes.
I don't know. I didn't think I was going to agree with you, but as he was talking, I kind of thought about it because I think one of the things, like the social media following, has helped the podcast and the YouTube.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think what's helped the most is that we're in Edmonton right now.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I think that is no. But here's the trick: like we have a slightly different business model than most, and no matter how many times people attempt to emulate what we do. Thanks. But if you're like an online trainer, I think that's tough. But one of the fundamental things I first learned in business, when this is like before I even knew what business was, from like an intimate setting, was when I was a personal trainer back in Good Life in Windsor. Someone came up to me, he's like, "You better be famous in your hometown. Be famous in your hometown," right? Yeah. And it's like the Good Life trainers at that time were famous in the hometown. They were the biggest dudes in Southwestern Ontario. Good Life Windsor trainers were far and above the biggest dudes in the city. And so people knew us. And then it was like they were wait lists to get in with Windsor Good Life trainers. And I was like, okay, that I've carried that through. Mm-hmm. And like there is so I think there's a point, there's validity in what you're saying. I think it's difficult for most people, but I think social media should be a graduation process of your business, right? Yeah. Like you should have a full roster of clients. Like you should be famous in your hometown and then be forced to, maybe not even forced, but have the opportunity to spread, past geographical boundaries with your business and services. But I think so many people, and like it's ridiculous to say it. I don't want to be a counterpoint like, oh, you got to train. I think you do. Like I think you got to cut your teeth, and I'm not just a curmudgeon old man. But I think the pain of cutting your teeth in the gym and building that rapport or that repertoire of successful client stories or whatever it is way less painful than going onto social media and being an online coach. Like I see it, and dude, like I wouldn't have the fortitude if you put me back in ground zero and the industry sold you on the idea that this is what you can do. Like you can make this kind of money if you just go online, link in bio or whatever. The amount of pain like that must be, like the day-to-day like sense of failure that must carry with being told this is the right thing to do, doing it and then failing must be so difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
And I think that being famous in your hometown, like that surpasses a lot of that. That excels you through that painful period or that transition period. Because you'll have a base of people who know you in real life, who are going to shout you out, who are going to support you. I mean, they're going to share your shit. And it might just be, the 7 people at the Dallas, Pennsylvania YMCA or wherever the fuck. But it's like, it's still 7 more people than starting at like 0. Like 0 times anything is still 0. And I think like the bigger a base in person you can get, the better social media acts as like this multiplier in your business. But I think people are coming in with like a real small denomination of people, and they think they're going to exponentially just blow this thing up, and it doesn't pan out. because I honestly think like if you're frustrated with social media, you don't have to delete it. You don't have to take a break from it. I think exposure to that kind of stress in the long term is good. Like I think I always question the social media breaks.
Oh yeah.
The announced social media breaks.
I was waiting for this to come up.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys. And it's like always Saturday afternoon, I'm going to be off for the weekend. It's like, what? You're out of service on Sunday? Like, what are you talking about here? And sure enough, like Sunday night, like that was not a noticeable amount of time. And frankly, I wouldn't have noticed.
No, you never do. And it rolls back to like the normalizing aspect where it's like they're just looking for attention. They want people to respond and be like, well, why are you taking a break? What's wrong? And it's like, well, Instagram's just a lot right now.
My mental health.
And my mental health, I can't stop scrolling Instagram. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
That is like great. I mean, I get no visceral satisfaction from Instagram.
No.
Like if these people must be drug addicts, right?
Yeah.
Like if scrolling is something you can't control, cocaine is not for you.
If I'm annoyed by Instagram, I close it.
Yeah.
And then I turn my phone off and I go do something else.
But there's a
Like-
weird catch-20, almost like a positive catch-22. Whereas if you are so busy in real life that Instagram becomes this like afterthought, the time you spend on Instagram, whether it's like storytelling or whether it's interacting, actually becomes way more valuable and it becomes way easier because all you're doing is documenting the things you did in real life.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that should be what you look to do. Like, don't fill I know people that spend hours a day creating content. You know how we create content? We go out and work a bunch, we caffeinate a bunch, and then Jay falls asleep on the floor, and I post that, and it's brilliant.
It's dope.
It's
Content.
the best thing ever. Yeah,
Fuck
but but like your life is the best story going. If you do shit,
Yeah.
but the most boring story of all time is sitting at your laptop and just like editing photos and reels to post. Sorry, that's part of what you do for us. I appreciate
That's
that.
okay. That's all good.
But like, but we out here doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I think people don't understand what an investment in their business really looks like. Because an investment in their business is literally just them living their life. And it's like, if you could just break free of the noise and the, the 10 tricks to hack social media, whatever. And just like, hey, look, that I usually post most of my shit at the end of the day. Where it's like, if there's something funny, or I'll just like in a story, I'll just click and then I'll save it. And then I just keep on enjoying the moment, whatever we're doing. And then at the end of the day, I'll lay in bed and I'll like repost whatever the fuck and I'll post the funny stuff. And that's it. And the thing is, you get so much more positive feedback. Yeah. You get positive feedback in the sense that, people like living vicariously through you, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. And you get positive feedback in the sense that people feel like they know you and then they want to purchase from you because they know you're not a piece of shit. Right? Like
That's big.
Yeah, no, that's big.
It is.
That's pivotal.
Yeah,
No,
don't be a piece of shit.
Don't
I
be a
think my
piece-
new rule whenever I'm going to buy something from someone I know through social media is I'm going to scroll through their followers and see if their mom follows them. And I'm going to scroll through their posts and see if their mom likes their posts. That's all the confirmation bias I need.
LV Shallow. Check it. At
Yeah.
LV Shallow.
Yeah.
Love you, Bomb.
Shout out, mama.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think intentions are big, but you need to be self-aware to know what your intentions are, right? If your intentions are to be like just swayed with the current tides of what's working, then like what if like anti-Semitism becomes like the what if they really start
reels are gonna get fucking weird.
Yeah. But it's like I look at that and think, well, what if, right? Like if you take someone who wasn't comfortable portraying who they were and they just sort of filed in line, what's to say they won't just, hey, we're really liking the Zig Heils on Instagram lately. But it's like, okay, but like, I mean, look, okay, but let's somewhere between and,
This is on video.
I know, so you can watch it to see my hand.
This will be an audio podcast only.
Yeah. Let's
But
mix that
somewhere
one.
between, look, there's a line somewhere, right? There's a line, you hope, somewhere between, hey,
Yeah.
Facebook and Twitter is so anti-Semitic, but it's true. Look at the stats. There's somewhere between like falling in line to what the algorithm rewards, and you just being like, okay, I guess I'll use yellow text with the emojis, and reposting propaganda. There somewhere between there is hopefully a line where someone goes, I'm going to opt out. That line becomes very close, if not precedes you posting the yellow text with the emoji stuff, Because if that's not true to kind of like your value set, then you don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know where your value set is and you do that, then the algorithm pushes you a little bit, and then you like, okay, well, I guess I'll do this. And it's like there is objectively going to be a line, you hope, or if there's not, but the way you set that line is you just understand what your values are.
That's that whole saying, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right?
Yeah, you'll fall for propaganda, posting propaganda. But it's like I just struggle with like looking at someone's, like you do like just a broad scroll and you see how, like you don't see how the person has changed. You see how Instagram has changed them, right? Like first post. Have you ever looked at his first post?
No.
Yo.
I
Can
hope it's the bodybuilding.
Can
I was
tell
just
you
gonna say
something?
that. I hope it's the bodybuilding.
It's not.
It's amazing.
It's tremendous.
It's
it was
fantastic.
4th of July.
It was, yes.
2008, 10. No,
Yo,
were
I
you
don't
in
even
school?
know.
Were you in school?
Yeah, I think it was maybe
13.
12, 13.
12,
yeah.
13.
13 probably.
It's a Pabst Blue Ribbon. Is it Pabst?
No, it's a Budweiser.
It's a Budweiser.
boy.
Red, white, and blue can.
A white
and
blue.
blue.
Was there a flag in the background, or was that on the can?
American flag socks.
American flag socks.
Feet crossed.
Feet crossed, and was a gun involved?
Campfire.
Campfire.
Close,
Okay.
close.
And do you recall, Dr. Gentle, what the caption for that post was?
I believe it was America. Hashtag show me your tits.
Come on.
And to this day, hashtag
To this day, that's why you're red, white, and Jordan.
That's it.
Yeah.
Literally. That's literally it.
Can I tell you what we call this in the industry? On brand. So we call that on brand. But my point is, I can scroll through and just see an evolution of Jordan. I've known him since he had his social media.
Yeah.
Right? That's right when we met. And I can scroll through and just see the evolution of him, which is great. And I love it. And it's awesome. It's like a little snapshot through like my best friend's life.
Yeah.
But when I go through even the people I've met in the last like 4 or 5 years, even less, like a year, 2 years, you meet him somewhere in a gym, in a seminar, you start following him, and you just see the machine grab them,
Yeah.
right? And like that stuff, it seeps into your real life, and you have to set that line. You have to set that line before you're going to fucking rallies and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's true, and I just see how social media has changed people, rather than how people have changed through social media. Like I think it should just be a two-way mirror, and it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
Hashtag
You
show me
know,
your tits.
there's some of the brightest minds I've ever met in this room right now. And I hate the fact that we've
That's you,
spent.
Matt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
mostly
that's-
Matt.
sorry,
It's
there's
mostly
nothing
it's
against
the guys that are not on camera
They're
right now.
smart enough to know, not getting involved.
I put
with
yellow
it.
text on videos. And
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
literally, Bagheera was like, "I'm not getting in that train wreck. I'm gonna wife and 3
Fucking
cats."
dumpster fire.
Fuck that.
Hashtag show me your tits. But
title of the podcast.
the thing about the brightest minds. But we just spent an hour talking about all the dumb shit that people do on social media. Like, that's how high this is on our radar, that there's so many things that we could have brought value in this hour, but this is the one thing that we think is the most valuable and pertinent at this time.
Yeah, because I think the value is to be sensitive in how it affects you and how you portray yourself. And if you're not sensitive to it, you probably don't know yourself as well as you should.
Right.
And I think using
That's a really good point.
case after case of how pervasive the machine can be, hopefully is just to illuminate, like, because I think more people than not that are sucked into the machine are inherently good people that are smart, that can provide value, but they're just caught in this undertow of chasing what the machine tells them to chase. So it's like, the stupid anecdotes and stuff is hopefully not too offensive and maybe funny, but it's just to kind of shine a light on, like, look, I don't even want to say it's a problem, it's a missed opportunity. Right? It's a missed opportunity for you to take hold of this thing and have it be an adjunct to your life rather than a stress. Like, again, people are, they're logging off, they're canceling accounts, they're changing their profile to look like the Will Smith thing with the yellow background. It's like, dude, none of that is it. Like, just sort your shit out, be nice, follow your mother. Like, it's not that hard to really sort out, but it's just all of that gets lost in the cloud of updates and new features and all this stuff, and it's like, no, like, it just doesn't have to be that. And at the end of the day, and like the nicest part about the whole thing is that if you're in it for a business sense, your business, I guarantee you, will become more profitable, more sustainable. That'll be here for the longer term. Because the business of someone in fitness who's not in fitness anymore is a useless business, right? So that sustainability alone is going to be the most valuable thing. And it's like then you start to anchor the proper KPIs and you start to have your certain value sets of your do's and your don'ts. And then it just becomes something that's sustainable. And you can post every Wednesday, regardless of the Wednesday stats. So, yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity I know to hopefully provide value. And that I think is the undertone to what we're trying to get through is like, right. Yeah, it can be bad. There's this quote that says, technology is a good tool, but a better master, right? If you can wield it as a tool, then it's amazing. But, I mean, I think everyone in this room met each other through social media, other than me and you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So it's like sick. And like born out of that is so much crazy shit. Like, and businesses that, how many people do you think with us being in the room right now collectively have been affected by us on a somewhat personal level?
Oh, wow.
Like,
that's a lot.
And like trace it back to in person.
Yeah.
Like Boogeyman was full-time fucking 140 hours a month forever.
Yeah.
Right? You still train clients in person. You've been in practice for 7 years. I've been in practice for 7 years. Matt writes software to the center of the black hole of the universe that is going to soon touch,
millions,
billions,
trillions.
I'll go for it. And it's like, you're still, hey, do you want to hang out? And I can't until afternoon because I put in 6 hours before you guys even get your ass out of bed. By the time Jay's had 9 coffees, you've seen 9
and an afternoon nap.
And it's like, I think it can be, and I don't think people, I don't want to say celebrate, but at the very least appreciate what it could be if you just stop paying attention, right? Stop paying attention to what's going on out there. Mm-hmm. Start paying attention to what's going on directly in front of you, whether it's your clients, whether it's your fucking self. And then all of a sudden, this just becomes a thing that is an adjunct that improves everything. That is that exponent that you're looking for. But fuck, dude, it is a race to the goddamn bottom.
So, does everyone's moms like their photos, or is it just not mine then?
My mom's on it.
Yeah. Like my mom loves me enough.
There was a really short line, which would have been a joke that your mom likes my photos, but I didn't take it. I just want everyone to know it was there. It was there, and I'm your friend, so I chose not to. But I just had to throw that out there. Yeah, that's you might want to sort that out.
Yeah,
they're doing wonders with family counseling now.
I'm good. I'm just gonna cry in the corner.
That's great.
Yeah,
as long as you video it,
right? Don't post it because I will not like it.
And if you post it, please don't fucking DM them. Let them cry it out. Yeah. That's what emo music was for, man. Anyways, yeah, I feel like we always end up with the social media thing, but I just, it'll land one day.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will.
It will not.
You don't think?
The people that need to hear this will not listen.
Fair. I don't know. No,
Even if they listen, they won't listen.
Yeah, they won't understand.
They won't understand it.
But here's my thing, and I've thought about this a lot, because I've come to act in ways that's consistent with advice that's been given to me at some point in my life. And I think that's almost the point of advice, is to, when you arrive at a new thought process, be like, oh yeah, he was right. Like, yeah. I fucking, what my dad told me as a kid, one day you'll like tomatoes, your taste will change. And I was like, fuck. Screw you, Dad. No. And I was in Athens 2 weeks ago. I must have ate fucking 50 tomatoes in 2 days. And I literally called him. I was like, yeah, you were right. And it's like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, or whatever that fucking thing is. And I think, do I expect someone to have some epiphany tomorrow and just like go to tons of therapy and, sort themselves out and cancel their fucking thing and go to their PT gym and offer training services? No. But at a certain point, someone will listen to this, and they'll be doing the exact same thing. They'll realize it's this fucking taxing burden on their life. They'll sort of recalibrate their approach. And then in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever, we'll get a DM and be like, hey, that podcast you did? Yeah, I felt that. And that's if that happens, it's sweet. And if not, then, we got another episode in the tank.
Yeah.
You got timestamps in the...
Yeah, sure.
You got the yellow text? Yeah. I'm going to make sure this this one better go fucking viral, dog.
I'll just have a pleasure watching it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, episode, I don't know. It's fucking October. It's October 5th.
Sick.
Appreciate you guys tuning in, as per usual.
Yeah. Don't be a piece of shit on social media.
Yeah. Be cool.
Be cool.
Also, if your mom doesn't like your photos, talk to her, I guess.
There you go.
Okay, you got some work to do.
That's a public service announcement. Reach out to Brendan. Make sure he's doing okay.